My birthday. The one day I thought I could count on family. I rented a private room at Halcyon, a rooftop place in Manhattan with glass walls that made the skyline look like part of the decor. A table for 10, all set. Candles, steak flown in from Japan, wine older than my marriage. I showed up in a tailored navy suit. No tie. Just confidence. I'd sent out the invites 3 weeks in advance. My parents. My younger sister Lily. My cousin Mark. A couple of close friends. And of course, my wife, Amanda. She was supposed to walk in wearing the blue silk dress I bought her last Christmas. She said it made her feel like a movie star. I was picturing that moment all day. How I'd stand when she entered, pull her seat, kiss her hand, and how she'd smile like I was still her whole world. But the hours passed. The seat next to me stayed empty. The waiter refilled my wine 3 times. No one came. At first, I thought maybe there was traffic, or maybe they planned a surprise. But it was 8:47 p.m., and I was alone in a room that cost me $2,000 to reserve. I looked like an idiot sitting there with a stupid smile, pretending to scroll through my phone while the waiter kept asking, "Shall I bring out the entrees?" I finally dialed Amanda. She picked up on the second ring, laughing. At first, I thought maybe she was drunk. I asked, "Where are you?" Everyone bailed. She chuckled and said, "I'm in Europe, with your rich brother." Silence. She could have slapped me across the face, and it wouldn't have hit harder. I froze. My lips moved, but no sound came out. Then I heard him, Ethan. My own brother. "Why bother, man?" he said, as casually as if we were chatting over coffee. "She'll divorce you soon anyway." Amanda giggled in the background like she was living in a comedy show, and I was the punchline. I didn't argue. I didn't scream. I just ended the call and opened my messages. See, what Amanda didn't know was this. I wasn't alone. I had my own surprise guest. 5 minutes later, I sent her a photo. Me, sitting at that candlelit table, with her boss, Claire McAdams. The same woman Amanda always claimed was too professional to socialize. The same woman Amanda had once mocked for being too obsessed with her job to ever be interesting. Well, tonight, Claire was sitting next to me, in Amanda's blue silk dress. She didn't ask questions. She didn't judge. She just clinked her wine glass against mine and said, "To new chapters." My phone exploded. Missed calls. Messages. "Aiden, what the hell is this? Answer me." "I'm serious. This isn't funny." I smiled, turned off my phone, and popped the damn bottle. Let her wonder. Let her panic. Let her scream into her overpriced European pillow next to my betrayal of a brother. I looked over at Claire. She didn't say a word. She didn't need to. Because that night, for the first time in years, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long, long time. Power. The next morning, I woke up to a dozen missed calls and a barrage of messages, each one more frantic than the last. "Aiden, please pick up. I didn't mean for you to find out like that. I was drunk. I wasn't thinking straight. Let's talk. Just once." And then the guilt trip messages came. "You're being immature. Running off with Claire? Seriously? That's low. She's using you, Aiden. You're smarter than this." Funny how Amanda went from laughing in Europe with Ethan to pretending to care in less than 12 hours. That's how she always operated. No shame, just strategy. She never apologized unless it was a move on her personal chessboard. I wasn't falling for it this time. I didn't respond. Instead, I went for a walk. Just me, a hoodie, and the cold April wind slapping my face like a reminder that everything I knew was now up for questioning. The sidewalk felt longer than usual, the city louder, messier. My world had tilted, and I was supposed to keep walking like it hadn't. I kept thinking back, trying to pinpoint when it all started. There were signs, of course. I just didn't want to see them. 3 months ago, Amanda started dressing differently. Tight skirts instead of her usual relaxed jeans. Expensive perfume that wasn't even her style. She used to hate floral scents, said they gave her headaches. Suddenly, it was roses and jasmine every day. I complimented her, told her she looked beautiful. She smiled, but it wasn't for me. She began going to the gym again, but always late at night. I offered to join her once. "God, Aiden, can I have one thing for myself?" she snapped. And then there were the business trips. My team needs me in Miami. My boss is sending me to London. She never asked if I wanted to come. Never even asked if I'd miss her. She'd leave, come back, toss her suitcase in the hallway and say, "You didn't clean the dishes?" I cleaned them. She didn't notice. The Amanda I married was gone, replaced by someone colder, sharper, always scanning for weaknesses. And I was her biggest one, her safety net. Her fool. Still, I kept believing we were just in a phase. That maybe work was stressing her out. That maybe if I booked a weekend away, took her somewhere quiet, we could talk, reconnect. I suggested it once. I can't. I have a strategy retreat with the firm, she said, not even glancing up from her laptop. Strategy retreat. Right. With my brother. Ethan. The golden boy. The guy with the private jet and the smug smile. He was the one who used to borrow money from me when we were in our 20s. Now he owned a tech startup, lived in a penthouse, and apparently stole wives for fun. And me? I was the man who paid for everything Amanda ever wanted. The one who took care of her when she lost her job in 2020, who supported her startup dreams, who covered the rent when she needed a little more time. I was her foundation. Until she decided she wanted something shinier. And now? Now she was in Europe, probably sipping champagne with Ethan while trying to spin a story that would somehow make me the villain. But I had receipts. Not just emotional ones. Real ones. I'd known something was off for weeks, so I hired a private investigator, Alan North, ex-cop, no-nonsense guy. He followed Amanda for 2 weeks. Took photos. Tracked her locations. And the truth hit me like a bullet. They weren't even hiding it that well. Ethan would pick her up from work in a black Mercedes. They'd check into hotels under fake names. She used the same wig every time. Blonde. Curly. Cheap. I kept the photos on my phone. I didn't even need them anymore, but I couldn't delete them. They were proof that I wasn't crazy. That I knew. That I'd been right all along. I remembered one picture in particular. Amanda, in that cheap wig, kissing Ethan outside a 5-star hotel. Her face was lit up with joy. Pure joy. She never smiled at me like that anymore. That's when something inside me shifted. The grief turned to anger. The anger turned to clarity. Let them have each other. Amanda thought I'd crawl back. That I'd beg for an explanation. That I'd be the same predictable Aiden who always forgave, always hoped. But this time, I was done hoping. I went home, printed the photos, sealed them in an envelope, and left it on our bed. I didn't write a note. She'd know exactly what it meant. The envelope didn't even stay on the bed for more than 12 hours. By morning, I woke up to the sound of the front door slamming and Amanda's heels stabbing the floor like a metronome of rage. She stormed into the kitchen where I was calmly making coffee, the espresso machine hissing louder than her voice for the first few seconds. You had me followed? She barked, slamming the envelope down on the marble counter. What the hell is wrong with you? I didn't flinch. I stirred my coffee, tasted it, then looked at her with the stillness of a man who'd already mourned the marriage and buried it. I wanted the truth, I said. You were never going to give it to me. She rolled her eyes, like I'd just accused her of stealing candy, not sleeping with my own brother. So now what? You're gonna cry? Want me to apologize? Don't bother, I said. We both know you'd lie through your teeth. That got her. Her face twitched, just for a second, but she caught herself. Amanda always had control. That was her thing. She could manipulate the mood in a room with a sigh or a smirk. She'd used it on me for years. Not anymore. You have no idea what I've had to put up with, Aiden, she said, crossing her arms like a bitter schoolgirl. You're boring. You're soft. You think buying flowers and paying bills makes you a husband? You stopped being interesting a long time ago. There it was. The truth. She didn't want safe. She wanted adrenaline. Power. The thrill of sneaking around like some low-budget drama character. And Ethan, he had the flash, the cars, the arrogance she craved. Not because he was better. Because he was louder. You're right, I said, setting my cup down. I stopped being interesting. I was too busy being loyal. Her lip curled, but I could see her eyes darting, looking for a crack in me she could climb into and twist. Don't act like some wounded saint, she snapped. You're not innocent. You've got your secrets too. Like Claire. How long has that been going on? I laughed. I couldn't help it. You mean the woman who actually showed up to my birthday? She flinched. Silence filled the room. Not the kind of silence that makes peace. The kind that shatters illusions. Let's stop pretending we have something worth saving, I said. You're already halfway out the door. She narrowed her eyes. So that's it? You're just giving up. You gave up the moment you climbed into Ethan's bed. Amanda stood there, furious and exposed. No rehearsed lines left. No audience to impress. Just a woman caught mid-lie, dripping with vanity and venom. I walked past her and grabbed my keys. Where are you going? She asked, more confused than angry now. To breathe, I said. Something I haven't done around you in years. I spent the night at a friend's place. No Claire, no drama, just silence and whiskey. I stared at the ceiling for hours, wondering how many moments I'd let slide. How many dinners she left early. How many kisses she dodged with excuses like, "I'm just tired." The betrayal wasn't the act itself. It was the erosion of everything that once felt real. The next morning, I came back to pack. Amanda was sitting on the couch with smeared mascara and a thousand-yard stare. She looked more lost than sorry, more inconvenienced than heartbroken. "I want the house," she said flatly. "If we're splitting, I deserve it." I nodded slowly. "You can have the house. I'll take my dignity." She blinked like I'd slapped her. But I didn't stay to explain. I went upstairs, grabbed my suitcase, and walked out. No theatrics. No last minute please. Just the sound of my car engine as I drove away from the life I thought I was building, and the woman who torched it without looking back. I didn't cry. I thought I would, you know? The first night in the apartment I rented downtown, sitting on a box that doubled as a coffee table, staring at nothing but peeling white walls and a half-eaten sandwich from a deli around the corner, I expected the tears to come like a flood. But they didn't. I wasn't sad. I was angry. I kept hearing her voice in my head, that smug, arrogant tone when she laughed and said, "I'm in Europe with your rich brother." Like I was a joke. Like my birthday, my love, my loyalty were all just some sitcom punchline. I started remembering the tiny things, the ones you ignore when you're in love. How she never touched me anymore unless someone was watching. How she'd say, "love you," like she was signing off an email. The way she kept her phone face down and always on silent. How I had to schedule time just to talk to her. And still, I gave her the benefit of the doubt. I was a damn fool. It took a few days for the word to get out. Friends started calling. Some pretended they just heard and were so shocked, while others admitted they'd suspected something for a while. One even said, honestly, "Bro, I saw her and Ethan last month at that jazz bar on 6th. I thought it was weird, but they didn't tell me." No one did. Everyone saw the cracks, and no one said a damn word. Because when a woman like Amanda walks into a room, she owns it. And when you're married to a woman like that, people assume you're the one lucky to be in the picture, not her. I started going to the gym again. Not for the abs. For the aggression. I needed to feel sore, needed to tear something in me so I wouldn't tear into someone else. It helped. Sort of. Claire checked in once. Just a text. "Hope you're okay. That was a hell of a night. I'm here if you ever want to talk." I never replied. Not because I was angry at her. Claire was just a moment. A distraction. Something spontaneous and beautiful that reminded me, for one night, that I wasn't invisible. But I didn't want to use her. I'd had enough of that kind of love. Then Amanda started sending little feelers, texts, calls, random emails with "just checking in" and "hope you're doing okay," written like she was some concerned ex-colleague, not the woman who gutted me. The final straw? She showed up at my new place. No warning. No text. Just her knock on my door on a Thursday night, holding a bottle of wine and wearing the same smug smirk she always used when she thought she had the upper hand. "I've been thinking," she said. "Maybe we rushed things." I looked her over. She still had the look, the curves, the perfume, the expensive coat draped perfectly on her shoulders. But something was off now. Something I couldn't unsee. Her soul was ugly. "I didn't," I said. She blinked. "What?" "I didn't rush anything." "You did. Right into Ethan's bed." "Aiden, don't be dramatic." That word. Dramatic. She always used it when I showed emotion. When I asked for more. When I pointed out something real. "You cheated. You laughed when I called you on my birthday. You threw away everything we built, and now you want to redo." She took a step forward. "We were broken long before Ethan. You know that." "No," I said. "You were. I was just too loyal to leave." She looked stunned. Just for a second. That mask cracked. Then she rolled her eyes and turned like she was about to leave. But then she paused and looked back. "You'll never find someone like me again." That's when I smiled. A real smile. The first in weeks. "I know," I said. "That's the whole point." And I closed the door. I leaned against the door after she left, my breath still steady, but something sharp twisted deep in my chest. Not regret. Not longing. Just the residue of poison leaving the system. It was over. Really over. But that didn't mean I was free. The nights were still brutal. Quiet enough for thoughts to crawl out from the dark corners. I'd lie on that worn-out couch, staring at the ceiling, replaying the conversations, the moments I let slide, the blind spots I ignored just to keep us going. Love makes you stupid. And I was head of the class. I remembered the first year of our marriage, how she used to run her fingers through my hair when I sat on the floor, working late. How we used to dance in the kitchen to music playing off her cracked iPhone speaker. How she'd whisper stupid things into my neck and laugh until she couldn't breathe. That woman? She was gone long before the betrayal. I just didn't want to admit it. A week passed. Then two. I started to feel like I was climbing out of something. Like I'd been buried under wet cement, and the weight was finally easing. I was still pissed. Still hurt. But there was space now. Room to breathe. Then Ethan called. I stared at the screen like it was a live grenade. Of all the people, he had the audacity. I let it ring out the first time. And the second. But on the third attempt, something inside me snapped. I picked up. "You've got 2 minutes," I said. He sighed like I just made his life harder. "Look, man. I didn't mean for it to happen." I laughed. "You tripped and fell into my wife? That's not fair. Neither is screwing your brother's wife in hotels while he pays her credit card bills." There was a pause. He knew he had nothing. No angle. No defense. "I think you and I both know she was already gone," he said, trying to sound reasonable. "You two were just pretending. Doesn't make it right." "I know." Silence again. "I'm not calling to fight," he said. "I'm calling to say I'm done with her." That actually made me chuckle. "She burn you too?" "She lied to me," he said, the edge in his voice real now. "Told me she was leaving you. Told me she loved me. And then last night, she was messaging some investor guy in Dubai." I checked her laptop. "She's a damn serial liar, man. She never loved anyone." "Welcome to my world," I muttered. He sounded different now, less smug, more wrecked. "I'm sorry," he said. "For real. I'm not the one who needs to hear that. I already told her I was out. I just wanted you to know." "You told her? Well, must have been hard for you, breaking up with someone else's wife." He didn't answer. Just breathed into the phone like the weight was finally crushing him. "Ethan," I said, calmer now, "I don't care what happens to you too. Honestly, she could marry you, ruin your life, and I wouldn't even blink. He trailed off. "I miss my brother." I stayed silent for a while. Thought about our childhood. The bike races. The nights sneaking out to concerts. The Christmases where we shared bunk beds and secrets. Then I said, "You killed him." And I hung up. That night, Amanda texted again. It was a photo. One of those soft filter, fake deep quotes over a sunset background. Sometimes people lose what's real because they're chasing what's easy. No caption. No explanation. I didn't reply. I blocked her number. She wasn't chasing easy. She was chasing chaos. And now she had it. I poured a glass of scotch and went out to the balcony. The city stretched out beneath me, buzzing and humming with stories far worse and far better than mine. I raised the glass to no one. To endings. To freedom. To never making the same mistake again. About a month after it all blew up, I found myself at a wedding I almost didn't go to. It was for an old college friend, Jake, one of the few guys who didn't disappear the second Amanda turned our life into a scandal. He called me personally, said, "Come, man. You need to breathe something that doesn't smell like betrayal." So I showed up, in a gray suit that barely fit anymore. 10 pounds of stress had carved itself off me since the fallout. No +1. No expectations. Just me and a flask tucked inside my jacket. The ceremony was beautiful. Real. Two people who looked like they actually wanted to stand there. The way the bride clung to his arm, how Jake looked like he'd sprint through fire to get to her. It made my chest tighten, but not from jealousy. From memory. I had that once. Or at least I thought I did. At the reception, someone tapped my shoulder. I turned and froze. Her name was Brooke. We had one class together senior year. Philosophy or some crap neither of us took seriously. But I remembered her. Blonde with sharp green eyes and a laugh that sounded like it belonged in a jazz club. She used to doodle tattoos on her wrists during lectures. Now she was standing in front of me in a black dress, holding a glass of white wine and looking like she hadn't aged a day. "I wasn't sure that was you," she said. "You used to have that horrible goatee." I smirked. "And you used to have a thing for calling the professor Dad, just to mess with him." She grinned. "Still do that sometimes." We talked. Laughed. Danced, even. Not the fake kind of dance where you're just being polite, but the kind where two people forget they're not supposed to enjoy anything too much. Later that night, we were sitting outside near the heaters. Her heels were off, and she was nursing the last of her wine. "You look like a man who's seen some sh*T," she said. I nodded. "Something like that. Wife. Ex." She didn't press. Just nodded back like she already knew. I don't remember what we talked about after that. It blurred into comfort. Into something light. And for the first time in a long time, I didn't feel like a walking bruise. We exchanged numbers. She said, no pressure. Just text me if you want someone to talk to who isn't a ghost. That night I got home and didn't go straight to my messages like I used to. I didn't check Amanda's socials or Ethan's. I didn't care what drama they were stirring now. I lay in bed and stared at the ceiling. Same view. Different weight. I was healing. Slowly. Messily. But definitely. A few weeks later, I filed the official divorce papers. No back and forth. No negotiations. She wanted the house, the car, the furniture. Take it all. I didn't want anything she'd ever touched again. She tried to call after the papers were delivered. I let it ring. She left a voicemail. You really think this makes you the bigger person? Fine. Be the saint. I'll move on. I deleted it. Didn't even listen to the rest. That afternoon, I texted Brooke. We went for coffee. Then dinner. Then a walk through the park where we talked about everything except heartbreak. She didn't ask for more than I could give. She didn't try to fix me. And maybe that's why I started to feel whole again. Not because I found someone new, but because I finally stopped trying to patch up something that should have been burned to the ground a long time ago. I had spent years holding together a life made of lies and performance. Now, I was building something honest, even if it started with just me. And that was enough. Summer rolled in like it was trying to wash everything clean. My apartment, once cold and temporary, started to feel like mine. I bought a couple of plants, not because I knew how to take care of them, but because it felt good to see something alive near the windows. I stopped drinking every night. Started cooking again. Real food. Spices. Music playing while I worked a skillet like I was auditioning for Peace. Brooke came over one night. Not for anything heavy. Just dinner. Pasta, wine, 2 playlists clashing in the background because I liked blues and she liked indie crap that sounded like ghosts crying in the woods. She took her heels off like it was her house, curled up on my couch, and told me about her job, her neighbors, her plans to adopt a rescue dog. It was normal, and I didn't know how much I needed normal until I had it. We didn't rush into anything. No declarations. No rushing the wound to close. But she didn't treat me like I was damaged, either. Just someone who'd been hit hard and stood back up. A month later, Amanda sent a letter. Handwritten. Like she was suddenly old-fashioned. Inside, there was no apology. Just 5 pages of manipulative poetry dressed as self-reflection. You were a good man, she wrote. But I needed more. More. That word felt like a fist in the ribs. As if loyalty, stability, and love were a starter pack, but real women needed something shinier. Louder. More dangerous. She ended the letter with, maybe in another life we could have made it. I tossed it in the sink and lit a match. Let it burn. I didn't tell Brooke about the letter. Not because I was hiding it, but because some things don't need to be shared. Not everything that comes back into your life deserves to be unpacked in front of someone who's trying to bring you peace. Brooke kissed me that night without asking if I was ready. And I was. Not because I had healed completely, but because for once, I wasn't kissing someone to keep them. I was kissing someone because I wanted to feel present. And I was. A week later, Ethan showed up at my gym. I was coming out of the locker room, towel over my shoulder, earbuds in. And there he was, leaning against the wall like we were still teenagers, and this was some dumb high school drama. He looked like crap. Sunken cheeks, eyes with bags under them like they hadn't known sleep in weeks. His designer hoodie didn't hide the fact that he was falling apart. Aiden, he said, voice low. I pulled out one earbud. Didn't speak. He rubbed the back of his neck. I lost her. I stared at him. Congratulations, I said, flat. She's in LA now, he continued, like I asked. Tried to con some producer into financing her podcast idea. Moved into his guest house 3 weeks ago. I almost laughed. Of course she did. I lost money, he said. Real money. She took my cards, emptied accounts I stupidly gave her access to. Cry me a river, I muttered. She told me she loved me. She told me that too. Right before she used my birthday as an excuse to mock everything I ever was. He looked at the floor. I didn't think she'd do it to me. Why not? I asked. You helped her do it to me. He looked up, eyes wet now. I'm sorry. It didn't change anything. But maybe he needed to say it. Maybe I needed to hear it. I forgive you, I said, surprising even myself. But that doesn't mean I want you in my life. He nodded. That was it. No dramatic ending. No hugs or bro tears. Just 2 men standing in the shadow of their own stupidity. I walked past him and never looked back. That night, Brooke made us dinner. Chicken parmesan. Music playing. No ghosts crying in the background, just soft jazz this time. She was learning. She poured us wine, smiled, and asked, "You okay?" I thought about it. The betrayal. The rage. The empty chairs at my birthday table. The laughter through the phone. The photo of me and Claire. The fire in the sink. My brother's broken voice. The way Amanda destroyed everything, and how none of it mattered now. I looked across the table at a woman who wasn't pretending, who didn't need fireworks to see worth. "I'm better than okay," I said. And I meant it. It wasn't some grand, cinematic finale. No fireworks. No slow-motion epiphany under the rain. Just me, standing on the balcony with a cold drink in hand, watching the city pulse below like it always had, indifferent to my personal chaos. I had survived. Not in the way people usually mean it. Not just breathing. I mean, I came through the fire and didn't come out bitter. That was the real win. Amanda? She became a ghost in the background. Every now and then her name would pop up in some story, some friend of a friend rumor, still chasing influence, still acting like the world owed her attention. She'd never find peace. She wasn't built for it. Ethan moved to Arizona. Started over. We haven't spoken since the gym. I think we both know some things break too deep to fix. But me? I finally started building something real. Brooke and I didn't rush. We didn't need to. I had no more desire to perform love. No interest in illusions. We were just two people who liked quiet mornings, real conversations, and long walks that didn't need filling with forced laughter. One Sunday, we sat on a bench near the river. She leaned on my shoulder, and I realized something simple but powerful. I wasn't waiting for the next disaster. I wasn't looking over my shoulder or analyzing every word, every breath, every silence. I wasn't trying to prove my worth to anyone. I was just there. Present. Whole. That's the thing about betrayal. It breaks you in ways you can't predict. But it also rebuilds you sharper, cleaner, more honest. If you're lucky, you don't just survive it. You become someone who would never again settle for less than truth. So if you're reading this, whoever you are, wherever you're standing in your own story, let me say this. If she laughed at your pain, if she kissed someone else while you were paying the bills, if she mocked your loyalty like it was weakness, let her go. You're not the fool. You're the escape artist. And freedom, once tasted, makes anything else feel like prison. Close the door, turn off the phone, and pop the damn bottle. You're free now.